What if I told you that pristine, perfect-looking lure you just paid $20 for is actively repelling the biggest fish in the lake? It sounds crazy, right? We're taught to buy the most realistic, flawless baits possible. But today, we're diving deep into a paradox that drives serious anglers mad. Why do monster fish ignore our perfect offerings and instead smash the chewed-up, damaged, struggling ones? By the end of this video, you will understand the predator's mind in a way you never have before, and it will permanently change how you choose and present your bait. This is the secret reason why your buddy with that beat-to-hell tackle box sometimes outfishes everyone on the water. So, do you still think a perfect out-of-the-box lure is always the best choice? Let me know your honest opinion in the comments right now before we get into it. For years, the fishing industry has drilled one idea into our heads: realism is king. We see lures with photorealistic paint jobs, perfect anatomical shapes, and swimming actions engineered to be the perfect copy of a healthy baitfish, and our natural logic follows suit. We think a big, hungry predator wants the best-looking, healthiest meal it can find. This belief is so ingrained that we spend countless hours and dollars chasing that perfection. We meticulously rig our live bait to keep it frisky, and we retire a plastic worm the second it gets a little tear. This mindset isn't wrong exactly. It's just incomplete. It's a strategy that works wonders on smaller, younger, more aggressive fish. But the true giants, the trophy-class survivors who have seen every lure and every trick in the book, they operate on a completely different level. They play by a different set of rules forged by years of survival, and our perfect approach often fails to even get their attention. First, let's break down the most fundamental rule of the wild: the conservation of energy. Imagine you're a massive 10-pound largemouth bass. You did not get that big by wasting your strength on pointless chases. Every single movement you make is a cold, hard calculation of calories spent versus calories gained. A healthy, vibrant shad swimming at full speed represents a significant energy investment for you to hunt down. It is a chase, it is a gamble, it might get away, it will require a burst of speed and power that drains your reserves. For a wise old fish, that is a high-risk, high-cost meal. They much prefer to sit back, observe, and wait for the one thing that guarantees a massive return on their energy investment, an easy, can't-miss opportunity. This isn't laziness, it's a highly evolved survival strategy. The biggest fish are the absolute masters of this energy game. Now let's talk about the illusion of perfection. Walk through a forest or swim over a reef. What do you see? Nature is beautifully imperfect. Every creature has scars, variations, and signs of life. Nothing is completely uniform. So when a lure that is perfectly symmetrical, with a paint job that has zero flaws and a swimming rhythm that is robotically consistent, moves through the water, what does it signal to an experienced predator? It signals something artificial, something that does not belong. Younger fish, driven by pure aggression and hunger, might strike it out of curiosity or reaction. But the old, wary giant has learned to associate that unnatural perfection with danger. It's seen lures like that before, and maybe it's even been hooked by one. That perfection becomes a red flag, not a dinner bell. A bait with a little imperfection, however, blends into the natural world. This leads us to the single most powerful trigger in a predator's brain: vulnerability. A struggling, injured, or dying creature is the ultimate meal ticket. It has almost no chance of escape. It requires minimal energy to capture. It poses zero threat to the predator. When a fish attacks a wounded baitfish, it is not just feeding, it is acting on a deeply ingrained instinct that has been honed over millions of years. This trigger is so powerful that it can override caution, suspicion, and even a full stomach. A damaged lure with its erratic, faltering action perfectly mimics this signal of vulnerability. It's not just a bait, it's a message. It screams, "I am a free meal, I am weak, you cannot fail if you attack me now." This is the subconscious button we are trying to push in a trophy fish's brain. Let's get more specific and talk about vibration. Every living thing moving through water creates a pressure wave, a signature that fish detect with their lateral line. It's how they feel the world around them. A healthy baitfish, swimming confidently, produces a steady, rhythmic, and consistent vibration. It's a clean, predictable pulse. You can feel this in your rod tip with a good crankbait or a spinnerbait, that steady thumping. A predator can feel it too, and it signals a healthy, alert prey item that will require a proper chase. That consistent vibration tells the predator that this target is at 100% strength. While this can certainly trigger a chase from an actively feeding fish, it doesn't convey the sense of urgency or opportunity that a different kind of vibration does. It's the baseline, the normal sound of the underwater world. In stark contrast, an injured baitfish produces a vibration that is anything but rhythmic. It's chaotic, erratic, and unpredictable. A flutter, then a dart, a sharp twitch, then a slow, dying fall. This broken rhythm is the aquatic equivalent of a blaring alarm bell for any predator in the vicinity. This is the sound of struggle, the sound of weakness. It signals that something is wrong and that an easy meal is moments away from becoming a reality. A lure with a damaged bill that causes it to hunt erratically, a soft plastic with a torn tail that makes it spiral unnaturally on the fall. These aren't defects, these are features. They are creating that chaotic vibration, that beautiful, ugly sound of vulnerability that tells a big, smart fish that this is the one target worth spending its precious energy on. They are programmed to seek out and destroy that signal. Let's put you in the fish's place for a moment. Picture this. You are a massive 40-inch pike hanging suspended just off a weed edge. You are the apex predator here. You see a school of healthy 10-inch perch swim by. They are alert, fast, and moving as a coordinated unit. To catch one, you'd need to explode from cover, burn a huge amount of energy, and single one out from the confusing mass of the school. The odds of success are decent, but not guaranteed. It's a significant effort. You are in no immediate need of food, so you let them pass. You are conserving your energy, waiting for a better chance. This is the scenario your perfect, healthy-looking lure creates. It presents a challenge, and a lazy, well-fed trophy fish might just decide it isn't worth the effort at that particular moment. Now imagine the same scene, but this time trailing behind that healthy school is a single perch. It has a torn fin, and it's swimming with an awkward side-to-side wobble. It can't keep up with the others. It is exposed and it is obviously struggling. Its movements are telegraphed, easy to predict. For you, the pike, the calculation has completely changed. The energy cost to capture this fish is now almost zero. The risk of failure is non-existent. The reward is a huge caloric intake for minimal effort. The decision is no longer a strategic one. It becomes a pure primal reflex. It is an irresistible impulse. That is what your damaged, struggling-looking bait represents. It is not just another fish in the school. It is the one guaranteed meal that no predator, especially an old and wise one, can afford to pass up. It's the opportunity they wait for all day. Another critical factor we absolutely must consider is experience. A trophy fish is, by definition, an old fish. It is a survivor. How did it get so big? By avoiding danger and making smart decisions for years. It has seen countless fishing lures. It has seen the same perfect crankbaits, the same flawless swimbaits, dragged past its face season after season. It may have been hooked and lost, or seen its companions get caught on those very same perfect presentations. Over time, that fish learns to associate the rhythmic, perfect action of a standard lure with danger. It becomes conditioned to be wary of them. It is no longer a naive young fish that strikes at anything shiny. It is a cynical, seasoned veteran of the lake. That fish's survival depends on its ability to distinguish between a real meal and a fake one, and perfection is a dead giveaway for fake. Think of it like this. If you saw the same slickly dressed salesman knocking on your door every day trying to sell you the exact same product, you would become suspicious very quickly. You would learn to ignore him. This is what we do to big fish with our popular, perfect-looking lures. We present the same artificial stimulus over and over again, But what if one day a different person shows up, looking disheveled and in need of help? Your pattern of recognition is broken. Your curiosity is piqued. A damaged-looking lure does the same thing. It breaks the pattern of artificial perfection. It presents a new, unique, and more natural-looking scenario that the fish has not been conditioned to associate with danger. It bypasses the fish's learned caution and speaks directly to its predatory instinct. It is a novel presentation, and in the world of a wise old fish, novelty often equates to safety and opportunity. Let's go beyond just movement and vibration. Let's talk about scent, one of the most powerful and primal senses for a predator. A perfectly healthy baitfish releases minimal scent into the water. It is trying to remain undetected, but the moment that baitfish is injured or under extreme stress, its body begins to pump out a cocktail of chemical signals. It releases stress hormones. If its skin is broken, it releases blood and other internal fluids. For a predator, this scent trail is like a neon sign pointing to an easy meal. It is an incredibly powerful attractant that can draw fish in from a great distance. A standard, hard plastic lure, no matter how perfect it looks, has none of this. It is visually appealing, but it is scent dead in the water. This is a huge piece of the puzzle that is often missing from our presentation, especially in stained water or low-light conditions. You might think this scent advantage only applies to live or dead bait, but it translates to artificial lures as well, especially when we consider modifications. Adding a natural scent product to a lure is an obvious step, but think about the physical lure itself. A brand new glossy lure has a smooth, uniform surface that reflects light in a very predictable, artificial way. Now take a lure that has been chewed on by dozens of fish. It is covered in scratches, tooth marks and gouges. Each of those little imperfections catches and reflects light in a chaotic, multi-directional way. This broken-up light pattern more closely mimics the way light glints off the scales of a real, swimming fish. The surface is no longer perfect, it has texture and depth. That ruined lure is actually a better visual imitation of life than the pristine one sitting in the package. This brings us to a fascinating psychological concept I call the "don't threaten me" principle. Not every strike from a big fish is a feeding strike. Many fish, like bass, pike, and muskie, are highly territorial. Sometimes they attack a lure not because they are hungry, but because they perceive it as a threat or a competitor in their territory. A big, aggressive, perfectly swimming lure can sometimes trigger this defensive response. The fish attacks to drive it away, but an even bigger, more dominant fish might not feel threatened at all. It might just watch that arrogant, healthy-looking intruder with suspicion. It is not signaling food, it is signaling competition, and the biggest fish in the area knows it is the boss and may not feel the need to respond to a lesser challenger. It's a risky proposition to bank on a territorial strike. A struggling, damaged lure, on the other hand, completely avoids this problem. It poses absolutely no threat. It is not a competitor. It is not an intruder trying to take over the territory. It is clearly and unambiguously food. By presenting a bait that looks weak and vulnerable, you lower the fish's defensive instincts and exclusively appeal to its predatory feeding instincts. You are changing the entire nature of the conversation. You are not saying, "Get out of my territory." You are whispering, "I am a free meal with zero risk." This is a much more reliable and universal trigger, especially for fish that are in a neutral or negative feeding mood. You're making them an offer they simply can't refuse because it aligns perfectly with their most basic survival programming: eat what is weak. Think about how predators hunt in the wild, whether it's wolves, lions, or a giant muskie. They rarely charge into the middle of a healthy, strong herd or school. Why? Because it's dangerous and inefficient. The prey is alert, and a coordinated defense is possible. Instead, they patiently watch from the edges, looking for one individual to separate from the group. They look for the old, the sick, the young, or the injured. They are masters at identifying the weak link. Once they have identified that vulnerable target, They focus all their energy on isolating and attacking it. This is a universal predatory strategy across the entire animal kingdom. It is the path of least resistance and highest reward. It is a fundamental law of nature that we, as anglers, can and must exploit to be successful. Your single, damaged-looking lure swimming through the water perfectly mimics this exact high-percentage hunting scenario. It is the lone, easy target that has been separated from the safety of the school. It is the weak link. When a big predator sees your bait with its erratic, injured action, you are tapping directly into this powerful, hardwired hunting program. You are essentially doing the predator's work for it. You have pre-selected the vulnerable target and presented it on a silver platter. You are not asking the fish to engage in a difficult chase. You are presenting it with the logical conclusion of its own hunting strategy. This is why a simple, torn plastic worm can sometimes outfish the most technologically advanced, expensive swim bait. It's because it's telling a more believable and compelling story to the fish. So let's get practical. How do we actually apply this powerful knowledge on the water? It starts with changing your mindset about your tackle. Stop being afraid to modify your brand new expensive lures. Take a file or a piece of sandpaper and scuff up that glossy finish. Take a pair of pliers and slightly bend one of the treble hooks so it catches the water differently. Carefully detune the eyelet of a crankbait so it hunts to the side with an erratic action instead of running perfectly true. Don't be gentle with your lures. They are tools, not museum pieces. Their purpose is to look like a struggling meal, not a piece of jewelry. A lure's first scratch is a badge of honor, the beginning of its journey to becoming a true big fish catcher. The goal is controlled imperfection. This principle is even more important when it comes to soft plastics. How many times have you thrown away a plastic worm or a fluke-style bait because the tail got bitten off or a hook tore a hole in the head? You are literally throwing away your best baits. That torn tail will give the bait a more subtle, erratic glide. That torn head will allow you to rig it slightly off-center, creating a unique corkscrewing action on the fall that drives fish insane. These ruined baits are your secret weapons. Keep them. Experiment with them. A Z-Man bait that has been stretched out and is barely hanging on can have a quivering, dying action that a new one simply cannot replicate. Your used bait pile isn't trash. It's a treasure chest of custom, big fish catching lures waiting to be discovered. It is very important to clarify that this is not about making your bait look like a random piece of garbage. There is a crucial difference between damaged and non-functional. The goal is not to make your lure look terrible or swim poorly. The goal is to break the artificial perfection and introduce the key element of perceived vulnerability. The lure must still have an enticing action, but that action should be erratic, unpredictable, and suggestive of weakness. It's a subtle dance. It's the difference between a lure that runs perfectly straight and one that has a slight, random hunt to its movement. It's the difference between a swim bait with a perfectly steady tail kick and one that occasionally stalls and flutters. You are not ruining the lure, you are giving it character and a more compelling, lifelike story of struggle. Let's bring this all together with the single most important mindset shift you can make after watching this video. For years, you have been trying to imitate a healthy baitfish. You have been trying to match the hatch by presenting a perfect copy of the local forage. I am telling you to stop. From this day forward, your goal should be to imitate a dying baitfish. You are not trying to mimic the strongest member of the school. You are trying to mimic the weakest. Think about what a fish looks like in its last moments. It flutters, it spirals, it lays on its side, it makes short, panicked bursts followed by stillness. These are the actions you need to build into your retrieve and select for in your lures. This is the secret language that trophy fish understand. Master this language of vulnerability, and you will unlock a whole new level of fishing success. And finally, let's consider the competitive advantage this gives you. On any given weekend, on any popular body of water, what is nearly every other angler doing? They are throwing the same handful of popular, perfect-looking lures right out of the package. They are creating a chorus of artificial perfection that the oldest, wisest fish have long since learned to ignore. By deliberately choosing to present something different, something that looks broken, scarred, and weak, you are immediately setting yourself apart from the crowd. Your lure tells a different story. It sings a different song. It is the one signal of opportunity in a sea of suspicious-looking threats. While everyone else is trying to impress the fish with perfection, you are seducing it with the irresistible promise of an easy meal. This is how you catch the fish that other anglers don't even know are there. So, let's wrap this up. The brutal truth is that big, smart trophy fish are fundamentally lazy and opportunistic survivors. They operate on a simple calculation of energy spent versus energy gained. Your perfect, pristine, flawless lure often signals a high-energy chase with no guaranteed outcome, but a damaged, erratic, struggling bait screams free lunch. It triggers a deep, primal instinct that bypasses caution and logic. The ultimate aha moment here is realizing that we've been sold a slightly flawed concept. The goal isn't perfection, the goal is vulnerability. That beat-up, scratched, chewed-up lure you have in the bottom of your tackle box isn't junk. It might just be the most valuable, effective tool you own. This knowledge should change everything. It should make you look at your ruined baits with new eyes and stop you from babying your expensive new ones. Thank you so much for watching. If this video blew your mind a little, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and ring the bell because we have a lot more myths to bust. And please give this video a like if you're going to go out and try scuffing up a brand new lure. Now for my final question to you, what is the one perfect lure you own that has never ever caught a single fish? Let's hear about the expensive shelf warmers in the comments below.